I would describe myself as having two motivations, and they're related. One is to change the world, and the other one is to have the freedom to do so. And part of freedom, which I decided, actually this is a plan that I came to when I was studying at Oxford, the other university, as it's referred to here.
What college were you at?
Wolfson. Was that one of the things that I would like to do is to wanted to do was to make enough money to essentially not require having a salary, because then you had the freedom to spend your days the way that you prefer to spend your days. And for me, that was trying to figure out how to, in a scalable way, make society a better place. One of the things I think is a role for public intellectuals, which is certainly off in the U.S., and I don't know where it is quite in the UK, which is people who help people reflect on who they are as individuals and who they should be, and who we are as a society and who we should be. And that's kind of one of the zones that I decided I wanted to play in. And to get there and to do that effectively, I think my belief is I had to be independent of a salary. So I wanted to do startups, right? I made that decision, I guess, in 1991, to basically both achieve a scalable impact where you can, if you create a good company or a good startup, you can change millions of people's lives, but also has a commercial outcome. Now, where I got to, how I got to a place where I could invest and have money and have control over my day and, and not need a salary was, I was fortunate enough to be, when the company PayPal was founded, I was on their board, and about a year into it, I stepped off the board into a full-time operating role, and PayPal was a reasonably successful venture. Well, one of the two co-founders, Peter Thiel, and I are very long-term friends. We recently figured this out. We met in the winter of 1987, debating politics back at Stanford. And I had started a company about 15 months earlier than PayPal was being financed. And Peter had heard the whole, one of the things Peter said about startups, which I really appreciate, is he said, maybe I've never learned so much in my life except perhaps between the ages of 2 and 3. And startups are intense learning experiences. You learn every week, every month. You're like, oh, learn something new. And so I'd been relaying that to Peter. And so when he decided to jump into this, he was like, well, could you come help us, join the board and help navigate through this? And Peter and Max are both great people, so the answer was, of course, yes. And as it turned out, it was also a reasonable success. So I joined the company, and we sold the company to eBay in June, July of 2002. We'd gone public already in April, and we made a little bit of money from that. That was, enough to retire to a middle-class lifestyle if I wanted to. And part of what I figured out, spent between August and November of 2002 thinking about, was what did I want to do. And I decided that I wasn't done yet with the consumer internet. That it had one of the things I think is most interesting with the consumer internet is for an all-in investment of somewhere between, probably $2 or $3 million and $20 million, you can reach 10 million plus people in an economically sustainable way. So if you can do that either for a commercial business or for, I even think social ventures can do this. You can make massive change in the world. So, for example, one of the nonprofit boards that I'm on is called Kiva.org, which is microfinance. It's basically, you can think of it as eBay for microfinance, so that people can come and make loans to aspiring entrepreneurs in other areas of the world, help them, learn to fish rather than give them fish, which is a enormously positive thing. I think entrepreneurship is, one of the goods in the world, and that can all be done on a very low cost infrastructure. So it's being run as a nonprofit out of the U.S. Despite the fact that it has software and it's online and everything else, it's enabled that way. And it's the kind of thing that, my hope, how I spend the next decades is working in either commercial or nonprofit organizations that affect the lives of millions of people in positive ways.